they've had studies where when they tried to desegregate, when that became the movement, when, you know, they were taking the segregated schools out of the question, everybody was going to the same school, this is when a lot of people started to leave, and this is how minority schools happened, because now it's minority school population for the most part. White people are gone just because the minorities are there. And they're losing all their funding, and it becomes situations where they're not even putting the time or effort into these schools anymore. It's almost like a lost cause.
My hometown, years ago, it was predominantly white, and people just started, as more minorities started moving in, the whites probably, I assume, left. Right. And even so, the few white people that do live in my town, they all send their kids to the private schools.
I was just learning about this in one of my classes, and, you know, like you said, like, a lot of the white people, like, left when minorities started coming in. That's literally called the white flight. It's just ridiculous how, you know, like, property values will go down. People assume that crime rates will go up just because minorities come into areas that are predominantly white, and then the area itself, like, loses its face value. And white people will either take their kids out of their public schools that are becoming, like, diversified and move them into private schools, or, you know, leave the area completely to go to a majority of white people area. And it's situations like that where schools do, like, lose their funding, and this is how, like, schools end up being, like, lower income with a lot of minority children, because, you know, when white people leave, so do the funds. The funds are going to follow the white people, because that's where we want to pour our resources into, because those are the people that are going to get places, which is absolutely ridiculous, but this is what people think. If you don't get a good foundation education, which isn't necessarily that child's fault, they could have the want to learn, they could really, you know, have the desire to, like, learn things and absorb information, but if it's not there for them to absorb, and they're not having those teachers that are saying, like, you know, this is what you need to do, these are your resources, this is how you go to college, and if you don't have someone showing you how to do that, how else are you going to get there? So it's
really
just
good to know, because again, there are people I know who just say, oh, they're just lazy, but, like, you brought facts.
Yeah,
you brought numbers into this.
It's not the case that people are lazy, it's the case that we're not giving them the same opportunities that we're giving white people. And it's not that they are lazy whatsoever. Lazy is a characteristic. Lazy is not something that can be attributed to an entire race, because that's racism in itself. You can't say black people are lazy. There's plenty of white people that are lazy, and there's plenty of, you know, black students that I'm sure had way higher test scores than white people but just didn't get into college because they're not a white person. And it's just not fair, because we're not giving minorities the same resources. It affects the outcome of their life 100%, because now they can't get into the college they want to, if they can even get to college. And then it becomes the stereotypes that that black people or minorities in general are lazy, and we're putting them in situations where they're not getting the same, they're not reaching the same goals that white people are, and it's solely because we're not letting them, but then we'll attribute a stereotype because they're not getting there.
It's crazy, because I have a cousin right now. She got a very prestigious internship that no one in the history of my household has ever gotten. Very prestigious internship. She works at Cold Spring Harbor. Very amazing, very smart. These past 2 summers, she's done research internships at, I think, University of Virginia, I want to say. And, you know, that's just something I didn't even do. She takes every opportunity. She does well in her school. She's, like, very smart. And now applying to colleges, it is a struggle. And I feel like the resources just are not there to help her. Like, I feel like this girl, if she wants to go into any school, she can. She is so smart, very hardworking. But I feel like there's just no support system at our school, or I guess it's my alma mater, I guess. And there's no support system at that school to help her. She has every potential to get into anywhere she wants to, and it's not the case, because I feel like they're not taking the time to help her, you know. There's nothing wrong. I mean, her SAT scores weren't as great, and because the resources aren't there for her to do well on her SATs, you know, I learned that, you know, a major difference between funded schools and, like, I guess schools like mine is parents pay so much to put their kids in tutoring services. We don't have money for that, you know. We don't have those sources. SAT classes, I think, with Kaplan are like thousands of dollars. We don't have money for that, you know. So she didn't do as well as her SATs. and we don't really have resources at that school to help with essay writing, nothing like that. So, you know, I suck so badly for her because I really feel like she's getting the short end of the stick.
Exactly.
You know, no one's really helping her. She has every potential to get to any school again, but there's like nothing really backing her up, and I'm doing the best I can to help her where I can, but still it's like pretty tough. And when she got rejected from like the school she like her top school she wanted to get to, it was completely devastating. And I feel like there should have been no reason why she couldn't get into that school, because again, everything her portfolio is amazing, but you know, she doesn't have the resources that these other kids, you know, could potentially have. And it just really sucks, you know, knowing that. And again, she's at the top of her class, so imagine, and she does have support, so now imagine the students who aren't at the top of the class, who don't have support, you know, which is the overwhelming majority. So what happens to these students? Like, you know, and it just really sucks to know that that continuously happens. I graduated from that high school. This year will make 5 years, and the issue is still there. They have, you know, implemented some programs, you know, but it's not helping. At some point in time, they got rid of AP Chemistry. It makes no sense. Chemistry is the first class you take as a science major, no matter what your major is. Students weren't taking it. It makes no sense, you know. They didn't have a lot of these AP classes. I think I only went to college with 13 credits. I met people who came with like 33. And I was like, how? Jesus, how is that possible? You know, the school just really didn't, you know, set us up. You know, we thought we were, I graduated, again, top of my class. I thought I was the best of the best. I got into real world. Lord, it was such a huge shock. I speak to a lot of other people who graduated before and after me who've gone to different schools. I have a friend, she went to Columbia. She didn't do as well, and she said that the high school just really set her up badly, you know. I have friends who also have gone to Stony Brook with me, and we have to work so hard, you know, because the school didn't set us up well. And even like in fundamental areas, I've noticed with like critical thinking, I have no critical thinking skills whatsoever, because we weren't really taught that, you know. That's not something that was developed in us. And I have other friends who are just able to think so well, and it's just so far advanced, and those students do very well because that's what, you know, they were taught. This friend of mine, she went to Stevenson, you know, they don't play at Stevenson. And I definitely see the difference in education between students who are really drilled and students who are just kind of, you know, let go.
We're only putting these resources into people that we see potential in, which is not fair whatsoever. And there's like, it's called tracking, actually, like the low tracking schools. And I like that you brought this up, actually, because, you know, they say that like high tracking schools, majority are white people or Asian people. They're overrepresented in these schools. So, I mean, you see Ivy League colleges, and almost all of their advertisements, they're not advertising diversity, because that's not what they're going for. They really only want people that are prestigious in white populations, and, or, you know, come from like rich backgrounds. And you don't see a lot of people of color coming from rich backgrounds just because of the status that we put them in. So it's all just this big cycle. So for high tracking schools, they're getting the critical thinking, they're getting education and curriculums where they're taught to think on their own. They're taught this is how you go to college, these are the steps. Low tracking schools, typically, you know, Latina populations, Black populations, and it's almost like people lost hope in these schools, and it's almost, you know, it's a waste of time to put resources into them, is the way people think, when in reality we should be taking from the higher tracking schools and allocating it better, because these people do have potential. Everyone has potential. It's just a matter of what you do to help them with this potential. So it's like frustrating to think that just because of the color of someone's skin, they're put so much further in life. When that's not something you can help. Like, that's not.